No, I'm really excited to be here today. My name's Christy Castleton and I am the founder and chief memory maker for REBEL&SOUL. For those of you who don't know us, REBEL&SOUL is a brand experience agency that is driven by neuroscience. And it's the neuroscience of engagement that I want to talk to you about today. And in particular, I want to share with you what I feel are potentially life-changing pieces of information. So REBEL&SOUL is a really interesting space in the marketing world. So we sit across the analysis space. So we actually look at the target market and what they want. We sit in the engage space as well, along with creative agencies coming up with, we think, innovative ways in which to engage with consumers. And we sit in the enable space, so we design some of our own technology that helps us engage with consumers. And we do this in order to create long-term brand memories. So how did I find myself in this memory world? Well, I've spent a wrinkle-inducing 20 years in the event and experiential industry. I've worked on campaigns, small and large. I've worked on thousands of sampling campaigns. For your information, that is not me in the gin and tonic outfit. I have spent years touring things like PIMS around the country. And I've been privileged to work on some mass participation events, from W Championships to being part of the Samsung team for the London Olympics. And during that time, I've got to see what's good and what's not, what's worked and what's not, and in particular, what's memorable and what's not. But it wasn't till about 10 years ago that I actually had a sort of neuroscience-based fascination with memory. And unfortunately, it came because I was diagnosed with a neurological and muscular disorder that I was told, unfortunately, didn't come with a cure. So for about 2 to 3 years, I resembled one of these, the mighty sloth. And I literally, unfortunately, was almost bedbound. And I don't know if we've got any event planners or producers in the room, but when you're told as an event producer that you can't do stuff, or someone says no to you, generally you don't take it very well. So I did what any great event producer would do, and I went to try and find a solution. And I did reading around, so everything I could find on body and mind, and trying to find a solution. And the brilliant thing was that I did. And this is the first potentially, for me, life-changing piece of information that I want to share with you. That actually, one of the most fascinating things that we've discovered in the last 10 to 15 years in the neuroscience space is something called neuroplasticity. Now, some of you may have heard of this, but effectively, it's that we can rewire our minds to do what we want. And that becomes really exciting in the space, but also in the engagement space. And so, effectively, I realized that I could actually affect my condition. And I did just that, which was great. There's also something called neurogenesis, which has come out recently, which says that we can create new brain cells, which is even more exciting. So that means you can teach an old dog new tricks. And it means that tonight, for the fantastic networking drinks that we're going to have, you can all have a guilt-free glass of wine, knowing that we can regenerate those brain cells. But what does that have to do with engagement? Why is it important? Well, just like we heard, in the age of the smartphone, our attention span is in the region of 8 seconds. And that's for pictures and video. It gets even worse for copy and text. It's down to about 1.7. Even the mighty goldfish has overtaken humans in the attention span stakes, coming in at a strong 9 seconds. And that's causing us issues, because there are thousands of messages out there every day. And so if you're going to get people to pay attention to your brand, your event, engage with your brand and your event, you've got a serious job on your hands. And there's another issue. We are not programmed to pay attention to brands or events. We're not programmed to. Because a brand or an event does not save our life. And we still have the brains that we had back in caveman days. They haven't changed. They've grown a little in volume. They've expanded a little by about 10%, but that's only to do with the logic part of our brain, not to do with engagement. So we're programmed not to pay attention. And now I know that some people think that some of these brands they couldn't live without, but that is not the same to our brain as life-saving. So our brands might be fantastic. Our mass participation events might be incredible. But unless they come with something potentially life-threatening, our brains are not programmed to remember them. Unless they literally come armed with a T-Rex, we are not programmed to remember them. No attention, no engagement, and no memories. Bit of a problem. But there is some good news. So the second potentially life-changing piece of information is that there is a way to dress your brand and your event to look like T-Rex in fancy dress. In brain terms, there is a way to fool your brain into thinking that this is life-changing, life-saving information it needs to take in. And engagement is key to that. But it's not conscious engagement that is key. So if we refer to this beautiful iceberg picture, for years we thought that humans behaved in a conscious and rational way towards brands and events and life events. Not the case. But it's not just not the case. Thanks to brilliant neuroscience and a lot of neurotechnology that we've now been using to test the brain and how it responds, we now know that up to 99.99% of our response is subconscious. Up to 99.99%. And some brilliant writers have been writing on. I've read Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, which is a great, great book, all around this. We are highly emotional creatures, and we behave with our subconscious because we're still effectively cavemen and we're still acting that way. We're still fight or flight. And so, knowing that we are now 99.9% or up to subconscious, we built a methodology that speaks to your subconscious. We built a methodology that effectively allows you to talk T-Rex to your brain. And it's called Involve. It's a 7-step methodology that effectively unlocks the doors to your subconscious. And it's really interesting because we get involved with our diets and what we put into our bodies. We get involved with our fitness. We've just been hearing all about brilliant fitness, Fitbit. But we don't get involved with our brains. But if we did, miracles can happen. And they did with me. And they can happen with you too, because if we learn how to get involved with our brains using very simple steps, you can learn how to increase your focus, increase attention, increase engagement. And the best news of all, you can dramatically increase memory. So what is involved in Involve? Well, it's 7 steps, and the first step is all about creating a little mystery. So you've probably heard that mystery can be quite good for relationships. Well, it's also very good for the brain. The brain loves unexpected, and it loves it because it's trained to look for unexpected. Our caveman brain is still trying to find danger at every moment. And so if we can give it a little intrigue, a little something it's not expecting, it will pay attention. So in brand and event terms, there's a few things that we can do to make that happen. Quite simple things. If it's the second and third year you're running an event, change up the structure or the format. Change things around, just so that it's not what people are expecting. And immediately you'll have their attention. Even better, intrigue even more, don't release the details. Don't release all the details you need to until the last moment. Create some intrigue. Secret Cinema is a fantastic brand out of the UK that is about to go global, that do this incredibly well. They don't release the details of the film or even the venue until right at the last moment, and they get a fantastic response. Because not releasing the information will trigger an adrenaline spike for anticipation, and that's what makes our neurons stand to attention and get a huge spike in engagement. The next point in involve. Do you think that people are going to take a picture of your event? Are they going to want to capture it and talk about it if they have seen it before? If they have seen something similar before? Probably not. If you can give them something new, then to our caveman brain, that is literally a T-Rex warning sign, and it's going to pay attention. And there are so many ways we can do this at the moment, because with the brilliant dawn of amazing new technologies that are coming out at the moment, be it virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, robots even, holograms, even better, a hologram of T-Rex, then you'd get some attention. But so many different ways. So new is the next piece that is vital to gaining attention and engagement. The third step is all around creating an amazing visual, a visual experience. Our primary core brains are still only responsive to visual and auditory. That is our primary response, our fight or flight response. And so it's really key that we dial up the visual. And there's so many easy ways that we can do this. Color is such a simple thing to do and to include. Color itself is 90% more memorable than black and white, especially multicolor. And no one's really owning multicolor. So there is a huge opportunity for brands, for events, to own multicolor. Paul Smith being one that actually does it at the moment. Ranges, a yellow, orange, red range. That actually increases your memory recall by up to 25%. So just simple color changes. And there was a really interesting study that just got launched by the BBC in partnership with Neuroscience, which is definitely worth a read. I highly recommend it, where they paired a strong visual change in branded content with something unexpected that happened in the content. And that gave a 76% spike in memory. So huge, and that was just through color, visual, and something unexpected. So making it vivid is really important. Next up, anybody here stood in a toilet or other queue for longer than they should have done before? Yeah, quite a few of us. And unfortunately, it does happen a lot of events. You know, there is a huge amount of people. It's quite hard to work out exactly when they need to go. The problem is, the queue to our brain is the same as a danger threat. It is the same as a T-Rex appearing. It gives us that same angry reaction, and unfortunately, we bank that memory before we bank the good ones. Because to us, this is danger. So it is vital that organization comes up in your planning. We're meticulous about it, because unfortunately, we are programmed to remember the bad and not the good. On a more positive note, the next point is around creating some movement, making things lively. If you were to do a quick experiment and you held a static image to your left eye and a moving image to your right, your brain would not even register the static image. And that again is because of the danger factor. We are constantly programmed to see what is going on. This could be a danger threat. Static one, I already checked. So any sense of movement that we can create for a brand, be it an animated logo or through an event, be it through roving entertainment, lots of changing up of branded content, event content, interactive audience, voting, Q&A, any sense of movement, and you'll be keeping the attention span and the engagement for much, much longer, which gives you a much higher chance of banking a long-term memory. The next one is around creating a little bit of variety. Variety is the spice of life in brain terms. And this is where as well, so far I've been talking about how you can generally get the engagement for everyone, no matter whether they're male, female, any age group, any culture. But using some variety within the experience or event can help you break into the nuances and make sure that you're capturing everyone's preferences. We all like different things, so the more that you can create different at your events with lots of things to do, the better for the brain. And then the final piece in Evolve is around emotion. Making your consumers as emotional in a positive way as possible. And this is where the real memories are made. And this is what will lead to engagement with your brand the following time or the following year. Because we make two types of long-term memory. We make episodic and we make semantic. Episodic are the facts and figures. They're the ones we tend to forget. But semantic are the ones that are really important for brands and events and experiences, because they are the ones that come layered with memories and all surrounding feelings. And the feelings come from emotions, and the feelings come from the senses. So the most that we can do to dial up that sensory input, the better. And one of the ones that's often forgotten is actually smell. Smell is responsible for up to 75% of human emotion. So it's definitely something that we need to consider. Because we can use emotion to trigger the intensity of that T-Rex response. So putting them all together, and you can create some really powerful results. We've tested Evolve for the last 3 years on experiences and on branded content, and we've had some incredible results. In a recent project series that we did with HSBC, we had between a 95 and 100% positive feedback from all consumers on the experiences, and we managed to achieve a 37 times the standard ROI as per Nielsen. We're currently a qualitative methodology. We're working behind the scenes on a quantitative one, on a memorability score. So hopefully I'll be able to update you on that shortly. But these are the types of experiences that we create. So just a quick snapshot. Now, obviously that's a lot of steps. If you've got an event coming up soon and you need a quick fix and you haven't got time to go through all of the steps that are involved, I have one tip. That would be to include one of these. But if you've got any questions on any of this, obviously that was a very speedy tour through Involve. I would love to talk to you all about it for longer later on. Thank you very much.